This is Tara Carr for Tara Talks with KDIV 98.7 FM. I'm joined with Lindsay Leverett, member of the Phi Alpha Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and graduate of Prairie View A&M University. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit about the AKA chapter sorority is sponsoring Think HBCU Week. Is that
yes.
correct? And tell me a little bit about that.
So Think HBCU is an initiative that the sorority has. It's one of the targets under our international president. Mm-hmm. And the aim of the target is really to increase awareness around the knowledge of historically black colleges and universities.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And so just explain what an HBCU is for anyone who may not know that term.
So for anyone who may not know, an HBCU is a historically black college or university. Mm-hmm. And HBCUs were founded for historically students of color, mm-hmm. people of color, when we didn't have an opportunity to attend predominantly white institutions. Mm-hmm. HBCUs were established for minorities, for people of color. A lot of them started off as normal institutions, normal colleges, specifically geared towards training teachers. Mm-hmm. Then a lot of HBCUs grew from there and were the 1890 or the A&M, the agricultural and mechanical institutions.
Yeah. Awesome. And so about how many HBCUs do we have here in Arkansas?
Roughly 107 total
mm-hmm.
across the country mm-hmm. and 3 in the state of Arkansas.
That's awesome. That's really great. And so what made the sorority decide to do an event like this?
So we really wanted to have an opportunity to educate Northwest Arkansas about HBCUs. Mm-hmm. There are surprisingly a lot of people in Northwest Arkansas that are alumni of HBCUs. And it's great we have an opportunity to get together and to kind of mix and mingle. Yeah. We wanted to really broaden the spectrum and have an opportunity to educate the greater community mm-hmm. about black colleges, about the history, the rich history, and the culture of black colleges.
And why do you think that's something that's important or necessary for students and parents in this area?
It's so important because we want our students here in Northwest Arkansas, especially our students of color, mm-hmm. to know that you have choices.
Right.
And a lot of times counselors will really gear students towards the University of Arkansas,
sure.
to UCA, to A-State, mm-hmm. and those are fantastic options.
Absolutely.
But we want our students to know, and especially our students of color, that there are other options.
Sure.
And counselors typically do not know about or have not been educated about HBCUs. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult to guide our students toward HBCUs because there's very little education for the counselors about them.
And as a high school student, you're listening to your counselor for recommendations.
Absolutely.
So unless you have that exposure, they wouldn't know. So the debate for a young student, especially a young black student, is often PWI versus HBCU. So what do you think, I guess, the benefits of attending an HBCU are?
One of the really big benefits of attending an HBCU is having an opportunity to be in an environment that's nurturing.
Yeah.
When you compare class sizes and institution sizes mm-hmm. with PWIs mm-hmm. and HBCUs, you'll find that at most of your HBCUs, the class sizes are smaller.
Oh, wow.
For students who need that nurturing environment, mm-hmm. it helps to know that you have a professor that knows your name.
Yeah.
They don't know you by just by a face or by a number on the roll, but they know your name, they know your hometown, mm-hmm. they know your parents. They have access to your parents or your guardians. Yeah. So if something happens, they're picking up the phone immediately and calling the parents to reach out. Mm-hmm. They're concerned about your academic success.
Yeah.
And they're willing to do anything that's necessary to ensure that you thrive at that institution and that you leave there with a degree in hand.
That's awesome. Sounds like a family. So what led you to decide to attend an HBCU?
So it's actually interesting because I grew up with an HBCU in my back door, with Prairie View in my back door. Mm-hmm. My entire life, I have kind of grown up in that culture of historically black colleges. Mm-hmm. Both of my parents were graduates of an HBCU. Mm-hmm. And so all along I have really known about the HBCU culture.
Yeah.
And I decided when I graduated from high school that I wasn't going to an HBCU. And I most definitely was not going to Prairie View.
Well, of course. You got to do the opposite of what your parents do, of course.
So I was all set to go to Sam Houston State with some of my friends from high school.
Yeah.
And ended up getting a partial scholarship to Sam mm-hmm. and a full presidential scholarship to Prairie View.
Wow.
Covered tuition, fees, housing, books, the whole nine.
That's awesome.
And decided to go to Prairie View at the absolute last minute with some of my other friends that I graduated with. And I was so anti, like, I'm not going to Prairie View, I'm not going to an HBCU. And I got to Prairie View and absolutely fell in love with the experience. Awesome. Got involved in a lot of activities on campus and got to know people. And for me, it was just a very rewarding experience. It really prepared me for the real world. Prepared me with dealing with people, knowing how to navigate certain situations. And so I don't know that I would have necessarily gotten that same level of experience had I not attended an HBCU.
Okay. So a lot of times with HBCUs or even with historically black fraternities and sororities, the thought is that they are exclusive and that it's just for black men and women. What are your thoughts on other races attending HBCUs?
So when you look at some of the diversity statistics for historically black colleges and universities, you'll see that a lot of the students who attend are not just African American students, but there are a significant number of Latino students and Caucasian students that have made decisions to attend black colleges. A lot of it gears around affordability, but a lot of it is really wanting to learn and to embrace that culture, having an experience to be in an environment with someone who doesn't necessarily look like you.
That's awesome. So back to the event, the Think HBCU Week, what can our listeners look forward to with that?
So during that week, we have a lot of great activities planned. On Wednesday, the 20th of September, we'll host a happy hour at Ruth Chris in Rogers from 6 to 9. This will be a fun event, an opportunity for Northwest Arkansas to come out, mix and mingle, get to know some of the HBCU alumni that are here in the Northwest Arkansas area. One of the things that we're asking for that happy hour is that our guests bring books about HBCUs or books by HBCU authors, and we will then donate those to the public libraries.
Love it.
The thought process is that there are not a lot of resources about HBCUs. And so as we continue to educate our community, we want to ensure that we have some additional resources that are available to the community around HBCUs.
That's awesome. I love that.
And then on that Saturday, the 23rd, we'll host an HBCU college fair. It's open again to the public. We're really targeting students in the Northwest Arkansas area, students in Oklahoma. And we will have colleges from a number of states that will be represented with recruiters from the various institutions. So we're looking forward to that. It's a great opportunity for students to come out, talk firsthand to recruiters about financial aid, about admissions requirements, about testing requirements, the full gamut. And really get to know what an HBCU is like, to understand what that black college experience is like. Yeah,
well, that sounds like a great week of events. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
So we will have some other events that will be social media postings and things that will come up for the week as well. And if you're following us on social media, it's the Phi Alpha Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and our web address is www.akapao.com. So you can definitely check out the website, which will give you more information about the week's worth of events, and it'll also take you to our social media sites.
Awesome. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate your time here today. And we're excited about these events.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Awesome. So that is Think HBCU, September 18th through the 23rd. Be sure to stay tuned on social media for more updates, as well as akapao.com. This is Tara Carr with Tara Talks for KDIV 98.7 FM.